mean, okay, and this is, like I said, with Purdue, I look at their non-conference and I look at their conference. I think Gonzaga has been exposed. I'm sorry. Hopefully I don't come to regret this in March. Gonzaga's being exposed. Gonzaga's a good team, but they lost to us and they lost to Alabama. They lost to the two ranked teams. I mean, and I think those two games are important for Gonzaga to be legit because they play in the West Coast Conference. There's no one in the West Coast Conference. So they're going to run the table in their West Coast Conference, but they drop Duke and they drop Alabama. I mean,
What's up? What's happening? What's popping? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another great episode of SymoneWithTheSports. I'm Symone, bringing you guys daily sports talk. So if you're new here, if you're old here, you haven't already subscribed to the channel yet, stop what you're doing, leave a comment, subscribe, keep rocking with me. And of course, as you guys can see, I got a very special guest, my bracketologist for college basketball. Go ahead. They already know, they see the resemblance. Introduce yourself.
I'm Sydney with the sports. I'm Simone's sister, and I'm a big college basketball fan.
Yeah, so y'all see it all. Sydney's our bracketologist. Y'all know how I'm in my NFL bag. Sydney is the college basketball version of me when it comes to NFL. So quick, I guess, background. We're an ACC family. So Sydney went to Duke. I went to NC State. Our oldest sister went to Chapel Hill. We're all from North Carolina, Carolina girls, best in the world. My mom went to, where'd she go? She went to UVA and Wake Forest. So we got the ACC on lock. So we got to get the college basketball stuff going. So Sid, AP Top 25 poll dropped, and there's a lot of history in this poll. So Purdue, the Boilmakers. The Boilmakers are number one right now for the first time in program history. Sydney, how you feeling about the Boilmakers? Do you think it's strength of schedule that's got them up there? They have a very easy schedule following being named the number one team. Do you think the Boilmakers are legit? I can't even say the Boilmakers without smiling.
The Boilmakers, Purdue, they definitely have talent. And they've been playing some tough games. And their conference, the Big Ten, is tough. I mean, it's a solid conference. So, I trust their ranking. We'll see. We'll see how they fare in conference play. But I think they're a good team. I think they're legit. I don't know how long they'll hang on to the number one because we just had a lot of shuffling in the number one. Actually, no. It was Gonzaga, then Duke, then Purdue. We'll see how long they can hold on to it. But I think they're legit.
Definitely. You talk about a lot of shuffling. It has been a lot of shuffling. 3 number ones in the last 3 weeks. So Purdue is a team that's built on offense. And when it comes to college basketball, especially when we get into tourney time, the offense usually is what carries team. Defense usually wins championships, yes, but having scoring, especially scoring off the bench and reliable scoring, is something that's always going to hold well in tournament time when matchups are crazy. If you have a guy that can get a bucket, he's a guy that can get a bucket, and they have a guy that can get a bucket. So they're being led by sophomore guard Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey is a guy shooting 35%. He's shooting 43% from 3 right now. 43%. That is freaking Seth Curry numbers already. As a team, they're shooting 35% from 3. That is very big, and that is what I think is really fueling the Boilmakers. They've been scoring at least 80 points in all of their games so far this season. So we'll see if that offense can continue to translate as they play some tougher teams. I just checked their schedule. They beat UNC when they were ranked 18, and they beat number 5 Villanova. So, I mean, when I evaluate college basketball teams, like if they're real or not, I look at their non-conference schedule, who are they playing before they play their conference teams, and then how tough their conference is. And Purdue checks out for both. They had 2 tough non-conference games, and they're in a tough conference. So I'll take it. The Boilmakers, they
playing NC State. They're playing NC State. So.
Yeah, so you do mention that. They are. So Purdue is up next for Purdue is Rutgers, which is they're 4-4 right now, should be a dub for them. NC State, the bracketologists are having Purdue as a heavy favorite over NC State, which is fine. But hopefully NC State makes it tough for Purdue. So that's their next 2 games. They have Rutgers on Thursday, and then they have NC State on Sunday. NC State has been playing teams close. so far this season. So hopefully NC State can push up on them a little bit. Y'all guys, y'all see that thing. Y'all see that thing. You already know. So Purdue, we got Purdue as legit Boilmakers doing what it do. And you mentioned the biggest shuffle in the rankings. So Gonzaga dropped to number 5 after falling to Alabama. Alabama rose to number 9. The Crimson Tide is doing it in college football and college basketball. So Jaden Shackelford for Alabama dropped 28 points and had 9 rebounds in their win against the Zags. They won 91-82. So that was the biggest shuffle in the rankings. So Gonzaga did Duke a favor and stole. Alabama did Duke a favor and stole.
Alabama. No, I mean, okay, and this is, like I said, with Purdue, I look at their non-conference and I look at their conference. I think Gonzaga has been exposed. I'm sorry. Hopefully I don't come to regret this in March. Gonzaga's being exposed. Gonzaga's a good team, but they lost to us and they lost to Alabama. They lost to the 2 ranked teams. I mean, and I think those 2 games are important for Gonzaga to be legit because they play in the West Coast Conference. There's no one in the West Coast Conference. So they're going to run the table in their West Coast Conference, but they drop Duke and they drop Alabama. I mean,
so do you think Gonzaga should have dropped further down than number 5?
I don't understand how they're still ranked so high. I don't understand how Gonzaga is still ranked so high. They're like, what are they, 5 with 2 losses?
So yeah, you mentioned that 5 with 2 losses. So let me just go through the wins and losses of the top teams. So Purdue is number 1 at 8-0. Baylor is number 2 at 8-0. Both of those teams are undefeated in their conference. Duke is 5-0 in the ACC, 7-1 overall. UCLA is 8-1.
Played in the ACC yet, but yeah.
Oh my bad. That's 5-0 at home, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah.
All of those were at home. My bad, y'all. Y'all know how I am when I'm reading. All of those were there. Those weren't their conference wins. That was their home wins. My bad. Yeah. So UCLA is 8-1 at 4. Then Gonzaga is 7-2 at 5. Villanova is 6-2, but then you have a bunch of only 1-loss teams following. Yeah.
I mean, Gonzaga has good losses. I mean, that's why they're still ranked high because they lost to 2 ranked teams. But I mean, I just think that's a little fishy. It's early, but you drop the games that makes your schedule tough.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to wonder how is that going to transfer to the tournament because their conference is a wash. They're in the West Coast Conference. They're not going to play no one for the rest of the year. So.
We'll see. So let's move on to our next headline, Duke. So Duke lost to, first I want to say this. So we're getting into Duke. Duke is the only ACC team in the top 25. The SEC has 7 teams right now in the top 25. Duke, crazy, right? Duke, like I said, is the only team in the ACC in the top 25. SEC is holding it down right now with 7 teams. Were you surprised by that loss sitting to the Buckeyes? And did you expect Duke to still be as high as number 3 after a loss to Ohio State?
No, I was not shocked by that Ohio loss. I mean, what makes Duke a good team? We always schedule really tough non-conference games. Look, we played a number 9, I would say, Kentucky. Then we went and played number 1 Gonzaga. Beating Kentucky then Gonzaga, that's an Elite 8 Final 4 run. Like, they're going to be 1s, 2s in the tournament. We already played a March Madness schedule already. So, I mean, we have a young team. I knew Ohio was going to play us tough. Obviously, everybody hates us. Everybody loves playing Duke. Ohio's a good team. They're now ranked. I knew that was going to be tough because we just came from a tough West Coast trip and playing Gonzaga. So, I mean, that loss hurt, not going to lie. But I'm really happy where Duke is. If you told me coming into this season that we played as well as we have, I would have been shocked. I'm already happy with our season. Again, 2 big wins with Kentucky and Gonzaga, being ranked 3rd. And again, our ranking comes from the fact people are going to be like, oh, you lost an unranked team. How are you number 3? Because we beat Kentucky and we beat Gonzaga. That's legit. I mean, no one has that resume. We beat the number 1 team and we beat Kentucky. Come on. Like, we're the number 3 team in the country, and I think that's a fair ranking. I'm super proud of where Duke is. I had no expectations coming into this season. Again, with Duke, I didn't because again, we have another freshman heavy team, but we can't trust those teams. And like, again, those teams that are coming out of nowhere, like these Baylor teams, these Purdue teams, they have a lot of upperclassmen. They have experience. Mm-hmm. And so you just can't trust these young guys. Like Paulo, who's a baller. Paulo's a baller, but he hasn't been battle tested. So coming to this season, I was like, we'll see what happens. But I'm very proud of what Duke has put together so far for their first 8 games.
Sound like Coach K in the post-game press conference.
I'll take
it. Sid, we gotta talk about ACC a little bit. Yeah. You know, when it comes to ACC, we supposed to be known for basketball first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We can't have the SEC taking over. Like, they already got football. What team in the ACC could you see rising? I'm not even gonna say crack the top 25. Outside of Duke, what team in the ACC do you think could be a stock riser?
I mean, always UNC. I mean, because it's UNC. I mean, obviously their first year coaching, so that might be a factor. But I'm sure they retained some talent from last year. UVA, Coach Bennett is an amazing coach. I think they'll be able to string something together. I mean, it's hard. Like, the ACC is so wide open. I mean, obviously beyond Duke, it's like, because like every year going to the ACC, we always have some tough games ahead of us. UNC is always tough. UVA is always tough. Sometimes Florida State, sometimes Virginia Tech, sometimes Miami.
You rude. You just rude.
NC State will throw an L sometimes. NC State will
throw an L. Watch out for NC State this season. We making a
No, I mean, NC State is one of those teams, and I would say NC State can put a case together. The thing about the ACC, your conference play can make or break you. So, like, teams like NC State, because our conference tends to be tough, you have the opportunity to play some really good teams, get some upsets, and then you can make it in the tournament. I mean, we'll see if that happens this year because it's just not as weak, but.
Let me read off some ACC standings. So right now in the ACC, Wake Forest is 8-0. They're on a 2-game winning streak. You mentioned University of North Carolina. They're 6-2. I'm about to say W3. 3-game win streak. Louisville 6-2, and they're on a 1-game winning streak. Everyone else is given. Well, NC State, we're 6-2. We're 5-1 in that's at home. I'm terrible at reading these.
No, but yeah, I mean, NC State
lost a 1-game losing streak. But the team ACC said we got to talk about, and I hate to do it, but we got to talk about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech won the ACC last season.
COVID season, bubble basketball.
Give them some respect. They got two players from that team are now in the NBA. Two of their starters are now in the NBA. The Georgia Tech was the ACC champs last season, beat a very tough Florida State team. Well, a lot of teams fell out because of COVID. A lot of teams.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like,
but
yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, Georgia Tech, hats off to Florida State. I mean, I'm not surprised that they won the ACC championship and then they're kind of where they are now. And you know why teams like that get hot? Because they have people that stay and they have senior leadership. So Georgia Tech was good because of those two guys. They're gone now, and then where they left. They don't have that recruiting machine to be good every single year. And so I'm not surprised by this turn of events. And again, I mean, bubble basketball. I mean, I know Duke sucked last year, but we were on a run in the ACC tournament, and then we pulled out, and a lot of teams were missing people due to COVID and stuff. So
imagine like Georgia Tech did. But Georgia Tech right now, they're 5-3, y'all. Georgia Tech just lost to Carolina, Chapel Hill. We're in the part of the season right now where we're dabbling a little bit in conference games, but we still have a lot of non-conference games on the schedule. That was their first ACC matchup. Carolina blew them out the water, 79-62, and the game was in Atlanta. The biggest concern for me, so like I said, they had Jose Alvarado, who's now playing on he's playing on the Pelicans. So he has a 2-way contract with the G League team and the NBA team. Jose Alvarado was
I didn't know he was playing with the Pelicans.
Yeah, so he's on a 2-way contract. So he gets called up some games and then playing in the G League. So They also had Moses Wright, who was the ACC Player of the Year, their big man, their center, who's now with the Clippers. So he's going between the Clippers and the Clippers G League team. So 2 players, and we know Georgia Tech isn't the type of team that funnels guys out to the NBA on the reg. So they had 2 NBA caliber players on that team last year. And Sid, the biggest thing for me is the drop off at the center position. Rodney Howard last night, hate to call out names. So Moses Wright was the ACC Player of the Year, big man. He played center, ACC Player of the Year for a reason. I don't got to get into it. Rodney Howard, and mind you, this dude is upperclassman. He got playtime last season. 30 minutes, 0 points. If you a big man and you got 0 points, that means you're not getting no putback. No big man should end the game with 0 points. No putback, no lob, no got the rebound, bang, bang, put it back up. How you play 30 minutes as a big man and got 0 points? And only 2 down. So it's not.
I don't say when people rag on these guys are literally learning how to play basketball. They're playing college basketball. They're not pros. But that gets to my point, Symone, about the center position and like why
basketball. This is the ACC, and like I said, this brother is upper class, but he got playtime last season in the championship.
But this is your point about the center position. I think is why Duke is doing well this year. Is because those few guys who do return are playing well. Mark Williams, he kind of popped off in the ACC tournament. And like the question was, is he going to be able to sustain this level of performance coming next year? And he has. And so everyone's talking about Paolo. He'd probably be a number 1, number 2 pick. Depends on where Chet from Gonzaga is going to go. But everyone's talking about Paolo. It's these guys like Wendell Moore who came back. He was averaging 7 points last year. Now he's averaging 17. And Mark Williams sustaining his success. So these have really been the wild cards. And it's these players that kind of make or break college basketball teams because you have these stars that come in, like the guys from Georgia Tech, Paulo, Chet, they come and they go, but your bread and butter, it comes down to your bread and butter with college basketball.
Definitely. So, Sid, we're going to keep our eye on the streets and the polls and the games next week. Purdue, like I said, they're the number 1 team right now. They have Rutgers, then they have NC State.
I'm going to look out for that state game.
Yeah, so when it comes to state, up next, State has Bethune-Cookman University, HBCU down in Florida. Why you laugh when I said, well, okay, but Texas Southern
because you said Bethune-Cookman.
Look, Teddy, y'all better watch out for y'all trap games this week. Y'all better watch out for y'all trap games because Florida, number 20 Gators, just got blown out the water at home by Texas Southern, a winless team in the SWAC conference.
Wow, that's why I hate college basketball.
Exactly.
Wow.
So Bethune-Cookman, NC State, y'all better watch out. And Duke, up next, they have South Carolina State Bulldogs, a team in the MEAC conference.
If they lose to whoever play next, you'll literally never see
whoever they play next. Put some respect on the HBCUs.
I will literally implode. This will be the last you ever see of me because it's just over with.
So we had our biggest upset. That Texas Southern was the biggest upset. Purdue making history, becoming number 1. And that Texas Southern upset was the biggest loss in Florida basketball history. So we got a lot of history that was made. So we're going to keep our eye out for next week, y'all. This was the first edition of the Simone with the Sports. Whatever you want to call it, college basketball edition, whatever. My bracketologist came in, brought some knowledge, brought some insight. Sid Stanley, she's not on any social media, so I can't drop nothing. She just live her own little bubble and watches Duke. So make sure you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, keep rocking with us. Let us know what you want to talk about. What?
I also watch the Steelers.
Yeah, she also watches the Steelers. Don't interrupt in the outro. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But yeah, Steelers, Duke. That's Celtics. Jason Tatum because of Duke. Celtics because of Duke via Jason Tatum. But y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what we should talk about in the next edition. Probably going to be coming every week on Tuesdays. We'll see if I get the brachologist back. We'll see.
Yeah. You didn't talk to me about that. You didn't clear that with me a second.
And until I talk to you guys next time. Bye.